250, 300 homes a year.
250 is the kind of where people have to understand who you are and what value you bring. Just learned.
Yeah.
And every time I've done that, it's changed me. I think most people want to share. My skill sets are in social media and online marketing, like digital ads.
The overwhelming theme is growth.
Yes, totally. Coaching program you recommended to me was expensive. I was making 150 grand a year, and this program was 3,500 a month.
Simon Sinek has a really good speech talking about an infinite game versus a finite game. If you can't see the vision and you can't believe the vision, it is that much harder to achieve the vision. Hey guys, Mike Wood. I'm a real estate agent in Reno, and I'm here with the Lee Stevens. He's also a real estate agent in Reno. Lee, I get to interview you this time.
All right, I like it.
So I'm very excited about it because I want to know the story.
Okay.
You've been selling real estate for how many years?
Going on 6.
Going on 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're sounding like a little 5-year-old. Like, I'm 5.5. Yeah. All right. So you've been doing
6 years.
There you go.
More confidence.
Own it,
Yeah.
baby. In 6 years, you went from an agent that got a license and opened up a shop to a team. How big's your team right now?
27 agents.
27 agents. Absolutely mind-blowing.
Thanks,
and just to give people some type of perspective, give me a average number of homes that you would close in a month with 27 people.
Between 25 and 30.
25 and 30. That's incredible, because if I extrapolate it out, that's about 250, 300 homes a year.
250 is the kind of where we're at.
Yeah, we're dealing with transaction count that's about 50% off of where it was a couple years ago.
Yes.
So what were the biggest challenges for you going from 0 to 27 agents?
When I started the team, basically how it was born was I was teaching new agents how to do real estate at my old brokerage. And so a handful of them wanted to team up with me, and that's how the first version of this team was born. And we were pretty good. I mean, we were doing, 60 to 80 transactions a year that way. And I wanted to blow it up even more. And the challenge was no one knew me. And I remember talking to one of my title reps and saying, how do I get big? And they're like, well, people have to understand who you are and what value you bring.
Yeah.
So the way that I did that was launch this podcast. And the first episode was me telling my story and getting that out there. And then I would send, anytime there was a pain point, when I was interviewing an agent, I would send that to them. It would elevate me in their eyes. And then they would kind of get hooked on that content. And about half of it is for agents, and the other half is for buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
And it really helps me recruit a lot. But that was it, like not knowing my value add.
Yeah. Over the last 6 years, you've kind of started with a blank canvas and then figured out exactly what you want and taken the steps to do it.
Yeah.
You ask for help. How do you find mentors? How do you find people that can help you in that growth? Because it's not easy.
Well, you were still one of my mentors.
Still, yeah.
And I know. And you know what? I
always will be.
Yes.
But reciprocal.
Yeah, it is totally reciprocal. So, number one, I respect your time. And these mentorship sessions, in the first 5 years when I was really new, I was learning from you 1 or 2 minutes at a time. Seriously, I would call you, it'd be a quick, to the point, get off the phone. And as action was taken, I believe I built a little more respect with you. I kind of graduated to like coffee appointments, and now we're doing all kinds of stuff together, which I appreciate. But you've got to pursue mentors that you admire,
right?
And you've got to listen to the way that they want to be available. So people like you, especially when I'm new and I had all the time on my hands, I was ready anytime. You were super, super busy, so I had to squeeze in and respect and really implement. And I'm not afraid to go out of state. I'm not afraid to. If I meet someone at a conference, try and build that relationship and do the exact same thing that I've done with you.
Yeah, where's the furthest you've gone?
The furthest I've gone was Detroit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Detroit, yeah.
How long was the trip?
It was like 13 hours, and it was this guy named Brandon Morellin who had another coaching program about FSBOs and expireds, and I just went out there and just learned.
Yeah.
And every time I've done that, it's changed me.
It's kind of neat, isn't it? Because really what you're talking about is growth.
Yeah.
And did you have any fear around it? Because I think a lot of people do.
You know what? I think that as long as the information that's being told doesn't fall on deaf ears, like as long as I'm not wasting anyone's time, I think most people want to share.
Yeah.
And you and I are in the same market. I was a little worried. You were pretty warm. You're like, do you like beer? I'm like, of course I like beer.
Good call.
Yeah. So, that was nice of you, and I appreciate that.
Oh, you got it.
But it's a little more scary in our own market. But as you know, like I figure out where you're at, and I respect your business. Like if you want a mentorship, don't go after their business in this market.
Which I appreciate.
Tip number one. And then
I've seen people do that.
Yeah.
I've seen people do that. It's happened to me on small occasions, but I've seen it nationwide on big deals. It destroys it. What it does is it keeps the person that shared the information guarded.
Right.
And that's you've probably seen that. Have you ever gone after somebody asking for advice, guidance, wanting a few minutes, and then just been told no?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and then I go and try it a couple more times. I really make a case.
Yeah.
If they tell me no, I haven't presented myself in a way that would get their attention. So I've got to get their attention because they're busy and very successful.
Yeah.
And I've also got to try and add value. So my skill sets are in social media and online marketing, like digital ads.
Yeah.
So if they turn me down, I usually try and optimize their ad account for free. I'll just
Really?
Yeah, that doesn't.
You never offered that for me.
I could do that for
I should
you.
have said no.
No, I could do that. I could do that for you, Mike. I think you're good at it.
Well, it's the being good at something is wonderful.
Yeah.
And understanding that there's always room for growth, and it doesn't matter if it's on the business side. If it's I found that personal growth, becoming a better speaker, becoming a better leader, becoming more of a positive influence on people are probably where my priorities lie now.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was a year or 5 years in the business, it was, how do I get people to see me? How do I get people to raise their hand for me? I want to help people like you do.
Yeah.
How do I find those people? Right. So different struggles at different times of life. And the overwhelming theme is growth.
Yes, totally.
And I am simply amazed how many people don't recognize that and want to keep doing what they've been doing and the way they've been doing it, and want to keep their little secrets.
Their secrets.
Like, let me show you how the MLS book works.
Yeah.
Things like that.
The secret, and I've learned this in my journey with coaching, and you've been a big part of this, getting me into it. Like when I wanted coaching, the coaching program you recommended to me was expensive. I was making $150,000 a year, and this program was $3,500 a month.
Right.
So that was substantial.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. So a third of what I made. It was worth it because you take the information seriously, and you learn and you implement. So the big secret isn't all the strategies that you and I have. They're so similar.
Right.
The little differences in flavor, but they're so similar. It's having someone help you implement. It's looking in under the hood and saying, correct this, correct that, and you actually doing it.
Yes.
And if you do it, man, and it's so crazy. I was telling you, I caught you outside of your office one day, just telling you how grateful I am, because this started when I was brand new. I had 1 minute of your time on this table with everybody, going from that to where I'm at now. It's nuts. And I know now it's starting to really, like, now the momentum and the money and the assets are starting to come together. I mean, it's really awesome.
It's kind of neat, isn't it?
It's crazy. So when new agents come and talk to us, and they're after the leads and stuff, it does remind me of who I was. Mm-hmm. But now I know that if I add value to my clients and my agents, that everything that I want will come.
Everything's a long game.
Yes.
Yeah. Simon Sinek has a really good speech talking about an infinite game versus a finite game, where the finite has a time limit and that's it. And I think that's what we tend to think of, especially early on. Is I had an agent that you and I both know, and he told me, and this was just a casual conversation, he was joking, and he said, a perfect real estate business for me would be on Monday, I get a check from a closing from Friday, and I show a client a house that week, and then we're in contract by Friday. and I have a closing that Friday. So Monday I come in, I pick up a check, I pick up a buyer, put them in contract, and you just continually do one deal a week.
Yeah.
And I went, oh my gosh. So of course I'm a math whiz.
Yeah.
I go, that's 52 a year. Oh, mind blowing, right? I was doing one a month at the time. If you can't see the vision and you can't believe the vision, it is that much harder to achieve the vision.
Totally.
Right?
Yes.
And I was totally mind blown and starstruck, and I went, oh, and I'm sure that the agent, even if I told him the story, he'd be like, really? I said that? It sounds like something I would say.
Yeah.
But it was taking that little idea and then saying, wait a second, that's not a bad idea. Let's set that as a goal. So what types of goals have you set for yourself? Not just now, in the future.
Yeah.
Because the infinite game, there is no stop. It's going to continue. So the goals you have right now, you'll hit, I would expect, the majority of them. Some of them are going to be lofty and, crazy, but that's okay. You get close to them, that's fine. But what are some goals that you might have set early on in your real estate career that really make you proud, even though nobody else may recognize it or know it?
My first year in the business, my goal was to do 20 deals. That did net me about almost 120K. That was my goal. I look at that. I had that goal on my phone as the screensaver.
Wow.
That's
dedication.
Yeah.
I love that.
I had an idea. I didn't have any lead accounts. Didn't have a team.
Yeah.
And I did it by cold calling, hustling land deals for the broker, and getting paid. I got a $300 check there, but
you did.
It didn't matter to me. I wanted to hit that goal, and the reason why I'm proud of it is because at the time there was agents and brokers where I was at who told me it was too big.
Oh, that's
super cool.
Did that motivate you or did that demotivate you?
It made me question the goal, but I was just going to go after it anyway. I'm a big activity person, and I'm a math person too. I'm not like a lender math person, but I can figure out how many deals I need to do.
Let's not go crazy.
I think I'm the most proud of it because people told me I couldn't do it.
Yes.
And I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And the next year, the plan was to double my business, and I was able to do that. And then I started thinking that my goals were too small. And that's when I started the team. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me about like hiring people, and was there fear around that?
Well, hiring agents, I got really lucky with my first agent. This is kind of a cool story. So
okay, cool. I'm ready for it. Bring it.
COVID shut us down.
Yes. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah. It was crazy. And I did a class on Facebook ads. That's like my free crack for everybody. I know how to do Facebook ads.
Yeah.
But I just did it because I hadn't seen anyone in a couple weeks. I wanted to help the other agents. And I know that everyone's pipeline just got smashed. Mine did. I lost $2 million in deals when the whole thing crashed. Lots of fear.
February, March, April. I was going to start bartending again. So
yeah. We should have bought a bunch of houses then. We should. Yeah.
All the bars were shut down.
Yeah. Oh, man. But I decided to do that class, and that's how I attracted my first agent. So that's the whole adding value portion.
Right.
I didn't do it to attract agents. I did it to see everyone's face. I just wanted to help. And so Feather came right to me as soon as the office opened up and asked to team up with me.
Yeah.
So that wasn't too fearful. But that shouldn't have been my first hire. After talking with you and talking with my coaches, my first hire should have been an admin.
Right.
And that is scary for two reasons. One, because I've never hired, I don't know what they do. I still don't know if I know what they do,
it's okay.
to be honest. Yeah. What they're supposed to do anyway. And it's a salary that needs to be paid whether they produce or not.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You're on the hook for it.
Yes.
For someone else's livelihood.
Mm-hmm. So
congratulations.
35 grand. When I was making 150, which sounds like a lot, but you take the coaching out of there, then you take that out of there, that puts me at a 70 net.
Yeah.
And I just needed to trust that this would work.
Correct.
But it did.
Yeah.
It did. If you use it, it worked. It made me more free. I stopped doing my files. I stopped checking my email. She did that. She started confirming all the appointments. So all the nominal tasks I was able to let go of. But that was the first growth that I had in leadership, because I needed to be big enough to buy into the vision.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and it was definitely a leap of faith.
You had to trust the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not an easy thing to do.
No.
No, especially when you're talking about, you're not a single guy, correct?
No. No. You're right. So at the time I had 3 kids.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. At the time I had 3 kids. Now I have 4 kids.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm the sole provider. So it's a very big deal. So every decision that I have to make, especially when, you the guys who have been doing it for a while, you're like, you need to, and not just spend more money. There's a strategy,
Right.
but spending that money, whether it's on marketing, advertising, mixers, whatever,
Yep.
and trusting that it will work
Yep.
is scary. So the way that I make myself feel better about it is I just do exactly either what I'm told or what I see.
Okay.
So, you mentioned Shayla earlier. I don't know if
Yep.
it was on this exact podcast, but she does a great job at her lunch and learns
Yep.
and her mixers, and it's like
Yep.
clockwork.
The girl could write the Bible on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could.
I know I could count on one hand the number of loan originators and real estate agents that just have it dialed in.
Yeah.
And she's at the top of that list.
I agree. So I had her model. You shared with me yours. I think you do, quarterly mixers, and this changes all the time. So
Yeah.
this was then.
Yeah.
And I just did it. When these things happen, I still have a purpose. I'm not just hanging out with my buddies drinking.
Right.
You know.
Which isn't a bad aspect of it.
No.
I mean, it is kind of fun to hang out with your buddies and
Well,
have a beer.
I get better, and who knows, maybe I don't get better because it's alcohol, right? But I think I'm a better networker when I'm 2 drinks in, and then things become clear, and I can stay on track with what I'm trying to accomplish, which is deepen the relationships and build their business and mine.
I think, to your point, what happens is people attend a happy hour and have a glass of wine, have a beer. And my social proof for this is if you go to a gala, they all have bottles of wine on the table.
Mhm.
They want you drinking before they bring out the items for the auction,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. I never noticed that.
I've made some bad purchases.
Okay.
But after a glass of wine, into the second glass of wine, what I found is the conversation goes from, oh, things are good, the kids are playing soccer and blank, 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 to what we're really struggling with right now is Cindy's income got cut by 15% because they were doing layoffs at her work. And, we thought we were going to do this, or I just had one yesterday where one of the husband and wife team said, I'm upset at my spouse because my spouse hadn't been paying taxes through quarterlies. So now we're filing our taxes and we've got an $8,000 tax bill that we didn't account for. And so I'm frustrated. I had another one. I had a really bad day yesterday on my part. And that is, I had 3 or 4 people, adults that have careers, that have kids, that shared very personal struggles.
Yeah.
And what I'm finding lately is post-COVID is anxiety levels are elevated. Uncertainty feeds that anxiety. Interest rates being high affect our business because it restricts the demand because purchasing power is lower. All of those things I can put to the side. But credit card interest rates are in their 20s, and they're zapping people's disposable income. I have come across a lot of people who on Instagram, I'll just use that as an example,
Sure.
look like everything is neat and tidy. But when you actually have a real conversation and the guard comes down a little bit, they will share with you the insecurities, the problems, the issues. I had a friend 2 days ago slide in, oh, I'm getting a divorce. In the middle of a conversation, I had to go, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
You gave me a sandwich, and it was nice on both sides, but in the middle, the meat was crappy. Like, I think you just said this. Yeah. I said, well, let's talk about that for a few minutes. And this is a couple that was at my house for Christmas, and I'm sitting here going, what in the world's going on? So after 2 glasses of wine, the facade tends to come down a little bit, and you get the real person. Because I want to see the warts. I want you to tell me I've got spinach in my teeth. Like,
Yeah.
I need a real meat and potatoes relationship.
Yeah.
I don't need a superficial. So is that what you end up getting to?
It is. It's really, we were talking about how it's organic, right?
Yeah.
You have the structure where you try it with 40 people, right?
That's
40
tough,
people
man.
do this, do that. You do it, and then at the end of the day, right now I have 5 people that I do life with.
Yeah.
From that list, I have the big events and stuff, but
Sure.
those 5 people, yeah, I know everything about them. I know their problems. I know financial struggles. I know big goals. I know when they're mad at each other. So it is where you get to, but I think that's part of the long game too.
Right.
Because you don't just get to that point with everybody.
No.
You gotta have a connection.
Yeah. It takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time, a lot of listening, a lot of being there when you want to be the phone call,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Whether they got the body in the trunk or they need to find somebody to help them get the body in the trunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just tell them I'm a really good getaway driver. So
Yeah. You're the driver.
yeah. On the business side, what kind of goals do you set now?
Big, fat, uncomfortable goals.
Yeah.
I've been going through this thing with goals right now, and it's not the numbers so much for me anymore. I'm now a believer that I'm going to achieve my goal. It's so crazy. I don't want to say the numbers, but I know
You don't have to.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I know what they're big numbers, and I'm getting there.
Yeah.
What I've discovered is it's not about that. It's about who I become on the way there.
Okay.
Who I become on the way there. Yeah.
Do I have your permission to ask you a question that I'm reading a book,
Okay.
and in that book, the author poses a question.
Yeah.
And it's about coaching. It's a coaching book,
Okay.
really. And I'd never really thought of it this way.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Who do you want to be?
Who do I want to be? Someone actually asked me this the other day. The answer I have,
See a friend of mine that asked?
it's a woman.
Okay.
It's a woman.
Could be.
This is gonna sound cheesy,
No.
but I remember when Mother Teresa died. I'm not trying to be Mother Teresa,
Yeah.
but I guess when everyone gets up and talk, the wake, when everyone gets up and talked,
Yeah.
every single person had something just amazing to say about how she helped them in their lives.
Yes.
So the person that I want to be is someone who is remembered by elevating people, by giving, and just by being about everyone else.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be remembered for my bank account or the size of my team. Just that I was a really genuine, solid person who was out there to help people.
Yeah. I like that. Who was it that said, you can get everything you want if you help enough people get what they want?
Zig Ziglar.
Yes. Very good.
That was the first person I started listening to when I was running a truck stop. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? And I was listening to Zig Ziglar and Les Brown on the way to work. And that was great. I actually saw him in person.
Neat.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
How did you get into growth and self-discovery? What do you think is inside of you that simply wants, and it doesn't sound like you necessarily want more. It sounds like you just want growth.
I do.
Does that make sense?
Yes. What's inside of me? I think as a kid, I'm dyslexic. I have ADD. I think I beat that. But as a kid, there was having those different things. People always told you what you couldn't do. You couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. And there was a time when I was sitting there. My dad was actually listening to a Tony Robbins book.
Yeah.
This is in the 90s.
Yes.
Or tape. It was a Tony Robbins tape.
We had these things called VHS.
Yeah.
Early there was a beta or VHS.
Yeah.
But VHS one.
Beta, the small version of the
Yeah,
VHS.
that's right.
And there was a technique in there that he talked about that I think everyone knows about now. It's called framing. So taking a situation and framing it in a different situation. I heard this when I was 12.
Yeah.
And this was when everyone was telling me, don't do that, don't do this. I implemented that at that age, and it worked. And I was like, man, maybe this stuff that everyone's listening to or some of these coaches or these gurus have things that work.
Right.
So from that point on, I've been hungry. I listen to audiobooks when I jog. I I stay up late at night sometimes and listen to all these videos. And one of the things that I like to do now is I like to take notes about the little nuggets that I hear. And I know that sounds simple, but when you hear it or when you listen to it all the time, you can't trust your memory.
Right.
So if you write it down and you look at that and you decide to make this a part of who you are, your daily regime, it can totally change you. I mean, right now I'm on a cold plunge kick. I want you to do one of those with me.
I'll do it with you.
Okay.
I did one a week and a half ago because I lost a bet.
Where's the video?
What do you think? I'm not saying.
Okay.
It'll come out.
All right, good.
I went to his house. He's got one of those really expensive cold plunges with the chiller and all that. And it was broken when what temperature do you do yours?
They're like in the 30s.
In the 30s.
I set it outside. I'll have to change in the summer.
And I doubt that there's a whole lot of difference between 40s and 30s. It was cold.
Yeah.
And I did it for 3 minutes, and I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What feeling do you get from it? What does it do for you?
Phil Puma, who's my coach right now, challenged me to do this as part of my activity. And I told my physical trainer, who's also a guy I grew up with, about it. And he's like, let's do it today. And I'm all, yeah, let's do it today. I thought he was joking because he's busy, I'm busy.
Yeah.
And he calls me at 3 and he's like, I'm on the way to your place. I have the tub.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. And I did not want to do it. It was late at night. He had me pick up 14 bags of ice. He had the tub, and he did it first. And I saw him freeze his ass off, but he did it. And then I did it for 2 minutes. I was like, all the stupid stuff that happens when you do it.
Yeah.
When I got out, I almost felt like high, really invigorated. I felt like I did something that was hard.
Right.
And I think that's the key to getting my day started. So since that day, I've done it every day. And I feel great.
For 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
I was up to 4 minutes when it was kind of warm.
Yeah.
I'm back down to 2 minutes.
Down to 2. I don't blame you. I think what I took from the whole thing, outside of the physical and the mental, which I don't think they were bad at all. In fact, I would encourage everybody to at least try it.
Yeah.
I think it was exactly what you said, though. I think that the mind creates barriers, and there's a lot of empowerment that happens when you just say, no, forget it. I'm not going to deal with it.
The edginess, especially with what you and I do, even in our personal production and our teams, as you hear all these different harebrained problems, at the end of the day, no matter, and I'm a positive person, and I know you are too.
Yeah, you're more positive than I am, though.
You kind of get your teeth kind of grind and stuff like that. With the cold plunge, I'm like patient, I'm zen, I'm like, this is nothing. And as I come up to different things in the day, whether they're hard or not, if it's less than 2 minutes, now I think I can do anything for 2 minutes.
Exactly.
Even deal with, crazy, I don't want to, crazy people.
Yeah, and there are, I don't think the general public understands. I think they see our job as almost non-essential and
turning on light switches.
Yeah, we get to go look at, this is a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Yeah. Okay, we get it. But that's the easy part.
Yeah.
The easy part is showing houses and finding the right one. And you do a little bit of work of getting value, but an appraiser is probably going to come back and do it anyway. Or the buyer has cash, and cash buyers, no value. It's not rocket science. So there are issues that come up through transactions. Those issues greatly affect the two parties, the buyer, the seller. And those parties can at times get very emotionally invested in that.
Oh yeah.
So we deal with the 10 o'clock phone call, and there's typically one if it's a couple. One of them is the calm, level-headed. That's who I get to talk to most of the time.
Yeah.
But there are occasions where the spouse has just had it, and my gatekeeper unleashes them, and I say, just send them to me. Like, I don't want one of them to get yelled at by the other if they're upset, because that's what they typically will do. So I tell them, hey, if either of you get frustrated, you get to a point where you're like this, just call me.
Yeah.
Let me take all of it. I'll take all of that emotion, and I'll let you go to sleep, and I'll go take care of it. So, and then we've got to turn around to the other agent and deal with them. And sometimes real estate agents can be difficult to deal with, I've heard.
Yeah, it depends.
Yes, exactly. In fact, I've seen the deals that I've seen blow up, I would say 50% are because the agent on the other side wasn't willing to have a conversation or try to figure out a way to solve it. So I think that's a quality of really good real estate agents, is the listening and then be able to turn it around. So I'm going to stop mid, and I want to What's the craziest story you have on being an agent? And I'm really curious.
Okay. So brand new, closed one deal. Used some of that money to buy a dialer. I bought a Red X, if you're familiar with that.
Look at you.
Yeah. And I called a FSBO, and I went to this guy's house. It was at Hunter Lake, and that's only going to mean something to people in this market, but it's a very nice area. Go there. The house is like dilapidated and falling over. There's like 300 people there. I'm exaggerating. There's probably 30 people there, all agents, I assume. Maybe a few.
Oh, I got you. Okay. So it's like just came on the market, I take it.
Well, it was a FSBO, so it just came on the market and people were swarming. And I'm brand new. I go with a name tag on.
Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Colwell Baker. And I just wait. I try and talk to the guy, and he's like inundated with all these people, and I wait for an hour and a half until everyone clears out. And then I go and I talk to the guy, and I have him show me around this house, and it's a hoarder house.
Yeah.
There's cracks everywhere, bad everything, bad roof, bad plumbing. And I get to what the problem is. And the problem is that he hasn't lived there in a long time. Him and his wife split up, and they're about to be in foreclosure. It was a pre-foreclosure.
Okay.
So it's not only a FSBO, it's a pre-foreclosure.
So you got a timing issue now.
Timing issue.
Yeah.
And I really try and understand what he's trying to do. He says, I'm not going to sign anything. And I just keep talking to him. I get all the problems. I get all these lists. And then I start saying that I can help him with certain things. And I didn't even know how to help him, but I said I would. So that day I get the listing signed, which was really cool. But the reason why it was hard is because ex-wife was there during all my showings. She was also an alcoholic.
Oh, good.
Which was tough. So she'd be like, Lee, as I was showing this place to people, and there was stuff everywhere. She also complained against me multiple times. She tried to fire me. And then we were collecting all these offers, and I get a notice that it's going to auction. And then it gets real crazy. So now we need to speed up. So now all loans are out because I need to close this thing in about 13 days.
Wow.
Again, this will be my second transaction ever.
How fun.
Yeah, ever.
Learned a lot.
I did learn a lot. So I had to figure out how to write a letter to the bank to try and stop it, which did not work. So then I did it.
You wrote the wrong letters.
Yeah.
No chat GPT at the time.
I put yours truly at the bottom, I think.
That was nice.
Yeah, that. And then the wife kept trying to get me fired, so it really stressed me out. She was calling my broker. The thing was one day before auction, and then there was multiple problems with the foundation, with the kitchen, with the fridge, with this and that. And I get the buyer and seller together, and I talk to them about how to get this done. And people are two sides of this. They say don't do it or do it, but I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
And I made it work. I got the seller to do a few credits or a price reduction to get this done because he was going to lose everything, and
you're not going to get anything anyway. So.
And then I got the buyer to agree to let the wife stay in there and get the stuff out of the house, and I closed it. So that was my craziest one.
Yeah, a lesson on compromise, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's the worst thing. In fact, sometimes having the two parties get to know each other a little bit.
Yeah.
If they're coming from the right state of mind, can actually be beneficial.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden it's not just a transaction. Now, Lee's selling me his house, and I want to be respectful of Lee, and you take out all of that negativity and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you get to know their situation.
Yeah. What does the next 5 years look like for you?
Well, the next 5 years, I think I want to be in multiple markets. Well, I will be in multiple markets. I have a goal to expand to the rest of the state, and then really my big stretch goal is to go to Hawaii.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's for fun, isn't it?
It's for both. I mean, I have an idea where me and my team leader, Feather, will do 6 months out there and come back. She's there right now. So
is she recruiting right now?
No,
she just enjoys
leisure. And we go there, 2 times a year each already. So I think I could do it. And then
what island?
Probably Oahu. That's where all the transactions happen. I really would like it to be Maui, but it's like very slim pickings, and I want to establish that we're successful first somewhere.
Yeah. So go where the deals are.
Right. Flip some condos first, and then expand to the whole area.
Yeah.
And be a really good coach, with B, and get deeper relationships with my kids and my wife.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. How are the relationships with your wife and kids now?
they're good, but I feel like they get what's left of me.
Yeah.
Especially with the move I just did.
Right.
I'm grinding, so I'm aware, and Disneyland's on the way. And
You're going to pay them off. That's what you're going to do.
yeah, I mean, 6-year-olds don't understand the cash,
Right.
situation, but I just need to be present with them.
Are there boundaries that you set up in your life so that you specifically have time to spend with them? Or it's just you guys?
Yes, but I am not the best at hitting that, and that's
Okay.
one of the things I'm working on with Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have those conversations? Give me the ages of the kids real quick.
So I've got 2 18-year-olds, which I'm losing track of. I mean, they're off doing their
Oh
own
my
thing.
gosh,
One
yeah.
of them's supposed to be an agent. I need to check in with him soon.
Right.
He's in school. The other one's in college. And then I've got a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
did it twice. It's very nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Was it more fun the second time or the first time you were really young?
I was really young. I was in sales as well. And I feel like I messed up there because I was gone too much. So, that's all in the bank. You can't go back and change it. So now I'm home every day at least. And, I try to do stuff, but I still want to be better. That's a part of that growth, I want to win an award. I'd love to get an award from my kids. That would mean, not that they have them. I'll suggest it maybe, but
Yeah.
I'd love to be recognized by my children for being a good dad. That's a goal. And my wife too, she loves me. There's no problems there, but
Right.
I'd like for her to recognize, and I haven't done the work yet, so I'm not saying I'm owed this or anything,
All right.
but I'd like to hear from her that I'm doing better, that I'm changing in that way as well.
So it's funny you say that. Have you thought about having that conversation?
With the kids?
Sure.
With the kids, I could. I mean, they would just give me the award though.
Well, yeah, you're taking them to Disney.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll have it right after I take them to Disneyland.
Well, have you had it with your wife?
I have not. No.
Have you ever had that conversation?
I have, and I've come up short. I continue to come up short because it's easier for me to do the business side.
It's easier for you to let down the person you feel isn't gonna run away from you.
Yeah, it sucks.
And so you end up putting your time and your energy into something that you're trying to grow, and when at the end of the day, retrospectively, you look back and go, oh, I'm focusing on the wrong VIP.
Yes.
Like my number one VIP should be the one that's raising my kids.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So what I would challenge you with, and I just think it's a great exercise, is sit down, just the two of you one day, and say, hey, let's take an hour. And if you could reimagine me as like the ideal, I hit every box. I'm 10s all across the board. What does that look like? And how does it contrast to where I am right now? My wife and I played a game called Here Are the Things That You Do That I Don't Like, and Here Are the Things That I Wish You Did. And sometimes it's like, because she's very much an introvert, sweetest woman in the world.
Yeah.
But she works all day, so she needs downtime when she comes home. I like to do things and go places, and it's really hard for me to calm down. So she said it would be great if we could just have a nice dinner and then just kind of relax. Well, I grab my phone,
Yeah.
sit there and do that. So I work on that. She works on let's go to places and see people and try new restaurants, things like that. But that's what I would challenge you with is having those open, honest conversations with friends, with anyone. Hey, how am I showing up as a friend? How am I showing up as a mentor? Am I giving you what you need? Or we have our own self-perception, and it tends to be different than what other people.
I've learned that the hard way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the best part is you, as you know, as you grow in a particular field, and real estate is a pretty small, tight-knit community, and it's a wonderful community in the Rio Sparks area. It really is. It's full of a ton of people. But when you start making a name for yourself, you start to be visible. People that have nothing better to do than talk about other people tend to say things about you that may not be true.
Yeah.
So let me ask you.
Sure.
Has anyone ever told you, hey, I heard this about you, and it just wasn't correct at all?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I want to know.
as I've moved, I just did a move to
Yes.
brokerages.
Yeah, that's fun.
And someone, a good citizen of the real estate community, has turned me in a few times for different compliance things. I needed to change my.
I get
so.
those.
Thanks for doing that. I wish you would call me.
Exactly.
Lots of, especially year 2. So I started. At the brokerage I was at, I was pretty successful, and I would take clients out to lunch, dinner, whatever, agents maybe as well.
Yeah.
And rumors started about me.
Can't take out a female.
I know.
All right.
Yeah.
I got the same thing.
I know. So and anyone who actually knows me knows I'm not like that.
Right.
And that actually hurts me. I mean, that actually hurts me. And I've got thick skin. I mean, we're in real estate, but
That's personal.
yeah, when you say something like that challenges my integrity, that does hurt me. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
I wish they wouldn't.
Well, they're not doing it to pump you up.
Right.
They're doing it to discredit. And
Yeah.
And the hardest part is realizing that it's their own insecurities that are having them do that.
Yeah.
Because, if they can't reach something, they don't want anybody else doing it. Is it crawdads in a bucket? Crabs. You put crabs in a bucket and they'll try to get out. And if one of them starts actually getting to where they look like they can get out, the other crabs will grab it and pull it back down.
Oh.
You've never heard that story?
No, I haven't.
Oh, yes. No, it's people's insecurities are an incredibly powerful thing. And some will be so insecure that when they see somebody else succeeding, they'll try to discredit them because it can't be done.
Right.
Nobody can do 20 transactions their first year.
Yeah.
Come on. And what happens is you, as the person doing it, experience growth, and you break down these barriers or these walls or it can't be done thing. Well, it can't be done until it's done.
Right.
And then the other people that also bought into that fake narrative are realizing it's a fake narrative, and yet they haven't achieved it. So you're really messing with their reality.
Right.
So the easiest way to do that is to say, oh, yeah, but, it's good, but, something negative.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? I don't like it. I mean, you're definitely a friend of mine. I have lots of friends who do great things, who are really helpful. And even when I hear something about someone else, I'm not in that crowd. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And then they think I'm a butthole. It's like, no, I'm not. I don't like that you're talking about someone that I know. You don't know them like that. And I can't even, I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
The conversation, because I just can't.
What do they say? Highly intelligent people talk about ideas.
Yeah.
Moderate intelligence people talk about things.
Yeah.
And low intelligence people talk about people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that's why I like happy hours that go deep.
Yeah.
That deal with, because I want to know, like, where do I fall short?
Yeah.
How do you get feedback from your clients?
Well, I mean, a thing that I still do is when I lose a listing appointment, I call and I ask why. And sometimes one of them was I didn't look professional.
Oh.
One of them was that my presentation wasn't cohesive. So it's another form of coaching, but instead of it being a professional, in the business, it's the most important person, the people that we serve, and I get that feedback. I do the happy hours too. I ask them what I can do better. I try and change things up, like, that I like potlucks, and some of my clients don't like people preparing their own food. So I thought, okay, that's legit. I'll get it catered, It
can be that way at times.
Yeah, it's like, did they wear gloves when they prepared that? I don't know.
Macaroni and cheese never had hair on it when I was at home.
Yeah. The big thing though was the All About You form. This is going to go to the community, but everyone in that should know what that is. But it's a form that asks about the clients, like what they like, the sports teams, their candy bars, their coffee shops, their liquor. And I just blasted it out to my past clients. No one filled it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I'm going to give you free stuff. And then they still didn't fill it out. So at the time, I went and I met with all of them. I didn't have as many as I do now.
Sure.
And they gave me a ton of feedback. They're like, so you can't just ask them a bunch of questions if you haven't talked to them in a year.
Yeah.
That's one piece of feedback. I didn't know that you cared was another piece of feedback. Oh. It's like, why is this, that was big. I do care, but in this business, I mean, time flies.
Yeah.
You know, so I think about them, but I don't really have I didn't have a system set up to contact them. And so
How do you do that now? Is that at the beginning, the intake?
the intake form?
Yeah.
I do that when I close them, usually. The All About You form, I try and fill out as much as I can. And then,
Without making it a form?
without making it a form.
You're just asking questions?
Yeah, and sometimes I'll have my assistant call and ask him one question. One of them get, every once in a while. But I did try immediately doing it, and there's like 20 questions on there, and man, it feels like, you're interrogating them.
Yeah.
Who's your wealth
You
manager?
really are.
Yeah.
Even I go, well, you don't have to answer that.
Yeah.
No.
It's like, what's your wealth plan? There's a bunch of things. So there's a little
When's
bit
your
of
kid's
nuances.
birthday?
Yeah. What's your kid's birthday?
They
Where do
won't
you
put the year?
Where do you live? Where do you live? Why? I want to send you stuff. What the type of stuff? Candy bars.
Exactly. What are you after?
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Right.
That is hilarious.
That's real.
That way. No, it is real. It is real, and I don't think people understand what it takes to produce at a level of hundreds of deals a year. It's hard as an individual agent. The number I use is 3 transactions a month. You've got 3 transactions a month, and you're a real estate agent with no support. You are working a lot of hours.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you are hustling because you've got the ones that are closing right now. You got to make sure that's all buttoned up. Everybody's happy. You've got closings to attend. You're still trying to churn, prospective buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
The sellers that are going to list next month, or, if you and I wrote down the listings that we have coming up over the next 3 months, it'd be a pretty impressive list.
Yeah.
So all of that work that goes into it, the biggest threat that I see, especially when you get compression on the number of transactions, is it becomes stressful. So it's a high stress, high hours, emotionally intense business.
Yeah.
And it leads to burnout very quickly. So how do you maintain having kids, wife, so home life, plus you've got 27, and I'm assuming if the 27 are all agents, we've got support staff. So there's 30 people that need you. They need your time, they need your energy, and each one of them, if I were to poll them, they would tell me the one thing that they wish they had more of is time with you.
Yes.
And I mean, family would say that, and the work would say that.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that? How do you not go crazy?
I second year in business, doubled my business, so I did 40.
Yeah.
And I went 5 months and I worked every day. So to your point, like every day, like 13 hours a day.
Oh, I know, dude.
I didn't have an assistant.
It ain't no fun.
My eyebrow hairs were like pointing up. I was like looking a little crazy, looking rough, drinking too much.
Yeah.
All the bad things, and that.
Right.
And so I wanted the leverage of a team. And at that point, I decided, I was lucky enough to have something where I could choose who I worked with.
Yeah.
And so I still do all the things. I still take everyone in, but now I can assign them to certain people, not everyone, but certain people to different agents.
Sure.
I have a team captain that's Feather, so we cover each other for time off, which is huge. That's another reason why I started a team, was just for time off.
Right.
I found someone else, an awesome lady named Katie Frederick. We both know her.
Yeah.
And we were just like, our hair was all messy, and like we were like, I'll give you this weekend off if you give me that weekend off. That was my first version of a team.
Yeah, because you guys both have spouses, you both have kids. Yeah.
So and then the money part, it's kind of hard to understand. It takes talking to someone like you, who's been in the game for a long time, to understand that I can give $5,000 to $10,000 transaction away and use that energy to actually make more,
Right.
instead of getting burned out.
Yeah.
And that was huge. That took work. I did not want to let that go. And so I still do all the activities, all the calls. I still generate all the leads, and I give a lot of the business to the team, most of it. And then I take care of my VIPs. The thing that's happening now is, now that the team's getting so big, I started getting a lot of calls from them, like from the clients and stuff. So now I have an internal coaching program with agents who have achieved a level of success, very much like an organization that we were with previously. So if someone has done 100K in the last 12 months, and if they have the capacity and the willingness, they can be a coach. And of course I pay them pennies,
Yeah.
but they, it elevates them. I can teach them because everyone wants to now know how to be a team leader from me.
Right.
But I think, 100% buy-in in order to get that information from me. And that's the way to do it. So I'll show them how to do that. And then all the other people roll to them. And so Feather and Johanna, two other awesome ladies that are on my team, are at a different level. They're at an even higher level, 200,000 to 300,000. I'm not going to say the range, but you guys can do the math. And so they coach higher level agents in those groups. And then every 6 months we switch, so they don't build a team and run off with them.
Yeah, which you will have some that will do that.
Sure.
I tell them, hey, my job is to build you up so that if you ever wanted to, you can.
Yeah.
It'll be no big deal. But basically what you've done is you've created layers.
Yes.
And I love what you said about letting agents that have performed at a certain level go into a coaching role, a management role, because these are skills that you will not find by selling real estate by yourself.
That's right.
Like, you have to get to a point where you hit the wall of your knowledge and who you are. And a lot of successful entrepreneurs deal with, what is it when they feel mentally imposter syndrome?
Yeah, imposter syndrome.
Which I'm sure that a young baby that's learning to walk, when it finally stands up, has imposter syndrome too, right? We all grow, we all progress. Everybody getting into the business wants to go from being brand new to your level, our level.
Yeah.
That's what they want, but they don't understand what we had to go through to get there.
Right.
And what you're doing is you're giving them steps to say, hey, look, you've done great on helping people buy and sell and pricing and negotiating and all that. That's wonderful. But if you want to get to the next level, you've got to turn around and you got to teach it. Because once you teach it, to me, that's the biggest difference. Is doing something is great, but when you turn around and start teaching it, that's when you really own it. And that's where the imposter syndrome just goes away.
Yes.
5 years ago, if I had said, Lee, you want to sit down for an hour and a half and talk, you'd be like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about.
I wouldn't
On Mondays, I do I don't know, the leads and Facebook. And now and now I can text you and say, hey, do you want to sit down in 2 days? And you go, yeah. Not only do I want to sit down, but I know where we can go. Drew will hook us up.
Yeah.
I've got the stuff, and there's probably not a question that I could ask you that you have not lived through. It's
full
Slumdog Millionaire type stuff right there, right? If you've experienced it, you can answer the question for it.
Yes.
And you can speak on it.
Right.
Cool.
So it's been good. My goal with that whole thing is to continue to create levels as I level up, and to have these coaches have leaders create leaders.
Yeah.
I think once that happens, I'll hit pay dirt, with just results and growth in that organization.
Well, and you create a community with a culture that attracts others.
Yeah.
So like-minded individuals. So recruiting becomes a snap because you have as many agents as you want.
Yeah.
And they've already bought into the idea. They know the structure. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. When are you going to coach nationally?
Hopefully in June.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully in June. I'm, right now, Phil's not too impressed with, I'm just going to throw it out there with my results because of the move. But, if you want to be at this level, at the level that you're at, there's no excuses. No one really cares.
No one cares.
No one
cares anyway.
Yeah.
This is all about you. It's.
Yeah. So it's, if I want that, I need to make that happen.
Yeah.
I'm determined to do that.
Well, and it gives you something to go for. And I think that for me, and I can't speak for a generation or anything like that, but I need a reason. I need a why in the morning to wake up.
Yeah.
And I love my wife. I love our relationship, but I need to leave the house and hunt and gather and bring back and I still cook. So
yeah.
You're not going to cook it, but I need a purpose.
Yeah.
People say, well, like, would you retire right now if you hit that magic number, whatever it is? Would you just go, hey, it's been a great ride? Because I've seen agents that have done that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was amazing. Guy had a goal of $3 million. Once he had it in cash, he was leaving, and he did.
Wow.
He went down to Aruba, became a boat captain.
Really?
Yeah. I think he's in Michigan now selling houses again. But right, the dream is to be in Hawaii, but spend 6 months in Hawaii, and
Come back.
after 5 days, I want to get back to Reno anyway. So
I don't have a wealth number. I've been thinking about that a lot too. My goal is financial independence, where my assets just take care of themselves.
no,
But I want that, but it's not tied with me stopping.
right.
You know, at first I did it for the money because I needed to provide for my family, but now I can do that, you know, many times over. Now I really want to give back. You know, I'm pumped about that, to the community, to the real estate community, and I want to continue to grow, and I'm loving it. You know,
I love it.
Loving it. I'm loving the connections. I love the you know, the relationships that I have with some of my peers that I respect very much. You're in that mix, like, and it's cool because you look up. You know, I look up to you, and now I understand it, and I respect you even more.
Oh.
That's like the whole thing, is like the whole process of becoming what you want to be.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a great word, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you know. Do you understand why it is what it is?
Oh man, there's some story. You know, nothing too negative, but someone once told me about you before I even met you. Okay, and they're like, Mike Wood has a very leisurely schedule. You know, he shows up at 11, this and that. And you know, once I finally got to the point where I talk to you, no, you don't. You know, I asked to have coffee with you at 7. You're like, I got my coaching call here. I got this and that. You know, we can fit it in at 11. But people just assume that you're, you know, you have it so easy. And whatever things that you have in your life where they are kind of easy, you know, you work for it every day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and I'm at the point where the most important thing for me is that I spend time with my wife in the morning.
Yeah.
That I'm home in the evening. I don't like a packed 5-day a week, because I pretty much take weekends off,
sure.
but no more than 3 packed days. So typically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, my calendar is either blue or green, and it's full. And then I keep Tuesdays and Thursdays so that I can go spend time with people and see people. And that's the whole point of the team and the leverage of other people.
Yeah.
Which is the team takes really good care of the clients.
Yeah.
And the less of me that's needed, the better it is for them. So
Yeah. And I am not there. I am packed I'm packed today, packed tomorrow. But that's the joy of this, is like, this is where I'm at. This is where you are.
yeah.
I can learn how to do what you do.
Yes.
And
And if you want to do it, you can do it.
yeah.
That's it. If you want to make it more your thing, and
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want. That's the whole reason for the coaching company. Was people typically feel stagnant, and a lot of people don't like who they are. In all honesty, if they look in the mirror, their biggest problem, their biggest negative influence is in their own head.
Yeah.
So we got together and thought, how can we help people change who they are? And it starts with, who do you want to be? And B being the state, you know, you're a being, I'm a being.
Yeah.
I can be active when I'm active.
Right.
I want to be happy. Well, okay, so if I own that state, then I'm responsible for my decisions. I'm responsible for my outcomes. So if I don't like who I am, then I just have to be who I want to be. And that means I have to change my behaviors, I have to change my attitude, and I have to constantly check myself and go, hey, you're about to have a 3rd IPA, and that is not the person that you want to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so I make a different decision.
Yeah.
I love that 3rd IPA, but it's the nail in the coffin for me. Like, I'm going to bed right after.
Sure. There was Phil threw this question at me 2 weeks ago, and I didn't achieve a goal. And he told me, I thought that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is what I want. Why did I do it? Now, all those questions start just tumbling out of this locked up place in my mind. And yeah, so now I do it. I don't know. It's so funny how I need to be asked certain things, or I need to be coached. But it is very important.
Yeah, it is. And it's the irony is it's a continual cycle.
Yeah.
It'll never end. So once you find joy in the change,
Yeah.
you look forward to getting in the ice bath
Yeah.
and you say, that's the hardest thing I'm going to do all day.
Right.
The rest of it's cake. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
The rest of it's easy. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do an ice bath together.
Let's do it.
All right.